Sportscasting may seem like a dream job, but it could get boring at times. After all, athletes aren't always the most interesting of people to interview. When that fails to amuse, you can always count on some other factor to throw a curveball in the proceedings. Here are 10 sportscasters who were distracted on the job. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the notification squad. Mike Patrick. We all have stupid thoughts throughout the day. If I were a color, what color would I be? Why isn't Postum a more popular drink? And so on. However, we usually keep those thoughts to ourselves and don't bother coworkers with them. We're not Larry David after all. Not so much in the case of Mike Patrick, who decided to share his random thoughts during an NCAA college football game between Alabama and Georgia. Allow us to set the scene. It's overtime. The Alabama Crimson Tide is up by 3 points over the Georgia Bulldogs. 3 guesses as to what comes out of Mike Patrick's mouth next. A. Analysis about the game. B. His thoughts on the Middle East, conflict, or C. Pop icon Britney Spears. Quite obviously, the answer is Britney. As if to shut him up, the very next play ended in a touchdown. Thank goodness for that. CHARLEY STEINER. One of ESPN's original hosts for their flagship SportsCenter show, CHARLEY STEINER is an experienced veteran of the sports news media landscape. Even with his experience, he is bound to slip up at times. One sure way to do it is when you put one of the most infamous national anthem bloopers in front of his face. For those who don't know, Carl Lewis's rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner is one of the most disastrous botches of singing in sports history. It's bound to crack you up if you've never seen it before, and that's just what happened to Steiner, as he just couldn't handle it. With his big glasses and bushy hair, Steiner giggled like a little schoolgirl throughout his segment on SportsCenter. Unable to cope with the train crash he just witnessed, the show cut to commercial while he and his fellow anchor buried their heads into their arms. We've all been there, man. We've all been there. For those of you who love ad-free viewing and free things, we're excited to announce the Premium Network. The Premium gets you early access to videos from The Sportster, CBR, The Gamer, and many other great channels. Literally thousands of videos in one place with ad-free browsing. How sweet is that? Sign up for free at The Premium by clicking the link to start binge-watching videos from your favorite channels. Jessica KASTROP. German lasses are built beautiful and tough. For a good example of this, look no further than Sky Germany football reporter Jessica KASTROP. This blonde must have been pranked by Bugs Bunny though, as she has not once but twice been hit by an errant football while covering a match. The first incident occurred in 2010 when she was at the desk prior to a match between Mainz and Stuttgart. The fiery fast football clocked her right in the back of the head, nearly causing her head to bounce off the desk. The culprit of the shot ran over and apologized and even brought her a scrum hat with flowers. The next time came 4 years later when she was nailed in the head during a warm-up, but once again, she took it in stride and even fist-bumped the guy who kicked it. Hell, she even smiled at him. See guys, all we have to do is kick soccer balls at girls and they'll like us. Please God, don't ever do that. We will not cover your legal costs and/or shame. Kelly Nash. Every so often we hear of a story where some person takes a selfie in the wrong place at the wrong time and pays the price for it. While this story doesn't end with a sportscaster falling off a cliff or anything like that, it should definitely be taken as a precaution for selfie takers. Kelly Nash, a reporter for Sun Sports out of Tampa Bay, Florida, was reporting at Boston's Fenway Park on a warm spring day. Sensing the perfect opportunity to take a picture, Nash turned her back to field and snapped. This almost proved to be disastrous and possibly fatal as one ball from the batter's box careened inches away from her head. According to Nash's own account, her producer had given her a heads up quite a few times prior to the infamous photo. The producer saw players taking giant swings, but Nash never felt the balls were close to her, so she decided to take the chance. The real reason why the ball didn't hit her though? She had a DVD of Angels in the Outfield in her bag. We suppose they're always watching, after all. SUZY KOLBER. One of the more famous entries on the list, SUZY KOLBER is a trailblazer for female sportscasters. One of the original faces of ESPN in its early days, KOLBER has seen a lot throughout her time broadcasting since the 1990s, but this incident has remained the most infamous of her career, and not a bit of it was her fault. While interviewing New York Jets legend Joe Namath on the sidelines of a Patriots vs. Jets, it was clear that Namath was a little off. slurring his words and generally behaving like the uncle at a party who had too much wine. Nemeth uttered the famous words, "I want to kiss you." KOLBER acted in the most professional manner possible and simply said that she appreciated the compliment while the cameras cut away and went back to the game. The former Jets quarterback admitted later that he had been drinking for several hours before the interview and apologized for his behavior. Weeks later, he also went into rehab. We suppose that this could have gone way worse. Thankfully, Nemeth is a pretty solid guy by all accounts. Imagine it was Greg Hardy. We'll talk about him later, but Brian Collins' legacy as an internet star can be seen in a popular catchphrase in current pop culture. What catchphrase is it? MALY Thomas. A journalist covering tennis for Eurosport, North American audiences likely haven't a clue as to who MALY Thomas is. However, she made headlines recently not because of her own work, but because of a tennis player being a complete scumbag. At the French Open tournament, Thomas was attempting to interview 21-year-old Maxime Hamu. Hamu, however, seemed to be more interested in flirting than talking. Wrapping his arm around Thomas and trying to pull her in multiple times for a kiss, Thomas thankfully managed to dodge most of them, but a couple did manage to land their mark on her neck. Somehow, Thomas kept her composure, but what was more disheartening is that the folks in studio simply laughed at the situation. Thomas said in the aftermath that if she wasn't on the air, she would have punched her aggressor. Thankfully for once, this familiar story has justice, as Hamu was banned from the rest of the tournament for his unjustifiable behavior. Let that be a lesson for other athletes who think they can do whatever they want to female reporters. SOPHIA MINNAERT. How would you like it if we came up to your work and smacked the hammer, keyboard, or whatever tool you work with out of your hand? Probably wouldn't feel too good, would it? Well, now you know exactly how SOPHIA MINNAERT felt while reporting on a Milwaukee Brewers vs. Pittsburgh Pirates game. It was the top half of the third inning. MINNAERT was set to give a report and set up the Twitter poll for the evening when an unexpected challenger came for her job. The challenger was genderless, white, and came storming in at several miles per hour. Yeah, it was a baseball, obliterating the microphone out of her hand. MINNAERT picked it up and continued on with her report like nothing happened. Better yet, she wasn't injured at all by the shot to the arms. Her only wish was that she got kudos for her defensive play. Here's to you, kid, and take your kudos from us while you're at it. ERIN Andrews. Quite possibly the most popular female sportscaster in television, ERIN Andrews has always been in the spotlight. Whether it be for her work in sports media or her hosting duties for Dancing with the Stars, Andrews is known to people of all interests and ages. That doesn't mean she can't have a blunder or two. Trying to track down Danica Patrick in the aftermath of the 2013 Daytona 500, Andrews funneled her way through a crowd in pursuit of the driving superstar. On her way, she bumped into rap star and business partner 50 Cent. Due to the way Andrews had positioned herself, 50 thought that she was giving her a cheek for a kiss. Andrews seemed to try and turn away from the rapper though, which distracted her from her quest to find Patrick. The incident made 50 look bad, but Andrews later took the blame for the incident, saying that she put him in a bad spot. The video on NASCAR's YouTube channel has had its comments disabled, so take that with what you will about the internet's take on the incident. STACEY Thompson. Most people here have no idea who STACEY Thompson is. This clip of her, however, has allowed her to achieve internet fame. A bodybuilder herself, Thompson was interviewing James Flex Lewis just after his victory at the 2011 British Grand Prix. The interview starts off fine for about 5 seconds or so before Thompson begins to clearly ogle the physical specimen. Throughout the video, she stares at his big, bulging, protruding muscles. I was gonna say muscles. What did you think I was gonna say? If that didn't make it clear enough, Thompson had several other telltale signs. Awkward smiles? Yup. Heavy breaths? It's there. Jumps in the pitch of her voice? You betcha. The video would be hilarious in and of itself, but an extra dimension makes it even better. The hot as hell woman to the right of Thompson, that's Lewis's wife. As Thompson is melting while staring at the bodybuilder, his wife is inches away. Brian Collins. In the early days of viral videos and internet celebrities, Brian Collins was one of the biggest of them all. Like a lot of internet celebrities, he wasn't known for doing one of several achievements featured in the Game of Life board game, but instead for failing. During his first ever on-camera broadcast at Ball State University, Collins fell down the bad luck tree and hit every branch on the way down. The whole thing alternates between being the funniest thing you've ever seen to the saddest, but it never ceases to amaze. While it would be tempting for people to simply believe that it was a case of a rookie being completely out of his element, the fact is that it wasn't his fault. The person operating the teleprompter messed up. His paper copy was out of order and he tried too hard. The story does have a happy ending. Though it took a while, Collins Collins did overcome the embarrassment of the incident and made a career for himself as a TV journalist after all. Speaking of Collins, here is the answer to our quiz. The catchphrase which spawned from him is, "Boom goes the dynamite." Yep, next time you spout it off in conversation, be sure to send a royalty check to our main man, Brian. Well, that's it for our list. What are some other notable bloopers with sportscasters? Talking about stats can be a notorious grind, so we can appreciate these incidents which break up the monotony. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Sportster for more awesome content. Until next time.